and welcome to the Scratticus Academy. It is Monday, so we are back in Dunera today. So without further ado, please check out all of the links popping up in chat now. A huge thank you to our wonderful sponsors in the form of Bird in the Storm and Mage Hand Press. You can check out their links in the chat as well. Other than that, let's hop around and say hi to everyone. Let's start with the very lovely Jagon's Gold. Jay, you're back.
I'm back. Hi, I'm Jay or Jagon's Gold. And today I'll be playing Paula Packer. Last we left her, she was in a little bit of a stressful situation, about to meet the Seers for the first time. So I'm very excited to see how that goes for her and for her to catch up with her friends. I don't know what anyone's been up to. Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. And then we're gonna hop down to the very lovely tour school.
So I was totally stealing Jagon's Gold's comment about the hair, because my hair is stunning as well. I'm looking all clean cut, because my hair is a showstopper. It is great to see all of y'all today. I will be playing Tolan Falk, and I am looking forward to all of the excitement today. We've got some stuff and things to find out. I'm looking forward to it.
Perfect, thank you. And then we're gonna hop over, last but not least, Julie.
Hello, I'm Julie, or Jay Graver, just about everywhere online. Here I play Charlie Blake, who is a magical youngster who... So much is happening. Everything happens so much. And I don't know. We'll see how this goes. I'm excited. Charlie's not.
Perfect. Thank you. So last week, a lot of stuff happened. Charlie and the D managed to save Tuva after being chased by the shadow creatures past Broom Bindings. We saw Tolan and Averick basically break out of Broom Bindings out the back door, taking all they could, the stone and the biscuit tin with them, before heading to Nadi's, where Nadi and Charlie found out that Tuva's home was at Jin's Oodles, which is a ramen bar, a noodle shop that her mum owns. And we also all went back to Nadi's, and Nadi created a huge terrarium with a black and a white dragon to protect the stone at the center, along with a lot of flowers like heather and things like that, again for protection, before she went off on holiday with Prim. And at the very end of the episode, Charlie got a call from Faust asking her to come round straight away, and she did. And she found Faust in a very unnerved state, in a very panicked state, as Miles, her brother, had just shown up on his doorstep, and he wasn't exactly behaving as himself. However, we are going to hop over to Paula to find out where Paula is at the very beginning, as that door closed and the deacon led her up a spiral staircase in the church. And Paula, you're led up this spiral staircase, and it's quite a tight spiral staircase, huge stone walls either side, very closed in. But there's lots and lots of passages and other stairways leading off of this. And you walk for quite a while, sort of you go up and up and up. You're not too sure how many levels up or what even direction you've gone in. But you do see people walking up and down the stairs, in and out of these passageways. Men and women in long white robes sort of walk past you. Their hands are clasped together, and they nod to you as you go past. It's a very serene sort of feeling in this place. And you can see on the front of their robes, they do bear that emblem of the rising or the setting sun. But either side of that sun, these robes bear 2 sets of wings as well. And you pass all of them in this corridor, up this staircase. Deacon is just slightly ahead of you. As he looks back, we are almost there. Please keep up. And he sort of motions for you to come and stand to the side of him whilst you walk up.
Everyone here seems so calm. It's very peaceful.
It is a peaceful place. We are the church. We are all about peace and serenity. And he keeps walking.
Are these people going somewhere, or do they just walk around?
There are many places in this church. Some that even I am not allowed into. Some I don't know where they're going. Some of them may have spoken with the Seers as you are about to. But they will not talk back. They are all mute.
Mute, like they can't speak, or
most choose not to speak. Others have a blessing put upon them, so they can't.
Interesting. As long as it's consensual, I guess that's fine.
Of course. Don't they look happy?
Very happy. Are we almost there?
Almost. And you round up at the top of the staircase. And it's almost like a hallway in front of you, a very small one, tiled floors, very, very plain. And a wooden door with another man in a suit stood beside it. And the door starts to open on its own. And the deacon looks at you. I can go no further.
Are you sure? You know, you could just just keep me company for a little bit, you know, just so you can introduce me and
They will introduce themselves. It's
I'm a little
okay.
nervous.
They know you're coming.
All right.
I will wait right here.
Did Noah already leave, or is Noah going to be in there too?
And he pauses. Noah has already spoken with the Seers. He was sent home.
Okay.
Paula, it's okay. I will be here when you get out.
Okay, good, because there's no way I'm going to be able to find my way back through that jumble we just walked through.
No, that is the idea of that staircase.
Mm-hmm. That makes me feel very safe and secure. No one will find me here.
Please. And he sort of gestures to the open door.
I guess I'll see you later, Deacon Marks.
I'll be right here.
And Paula will enter the chamber.
You enter this chamber, and It's not... It has got a sense of eeriness to it, but also beauty. As you walk into this rather large arched room, carved almost of complete marble. And the ceiling itself, if you look up, you do see rafters, but they're almost like a night sky, as if something is projecting this image to the top of this ceiling. And on long, thin strands, not too sure what of, almost like thread, are wind chimes. And they are at all levels. So much so, some are even at your eye level and you have to push past them and walk through them. As you walk down this pathway, as you do, the statues at the side, carved to be faceless, robed figures, all have like an orb in their palms that lights up so bright, almost like the sun, that you can't look directly at it. And you sort of make your way through this field of wind chimes. You can push them aside, the metal is cold to touch. And at the end of the hall is a table. A large oak table. There are two figures at either end in these brown suits with the rising sun, hands behind their back, and 7 people sit at this table. All of them are completely bald. They are painted white. Their hands, their arms, their faces. But the only way you could describe it is that it looks like gold paint has been dripped over them, almost to look like a sunburst resting on their shoulders. And they themselves sit in very simple, not robes, just almost like a t-shirt and simple trousers. If it weren't for just the slightly different gold drips, you wouldn't be able to tell them apart. These are men and women. These 7 people. And as you approach, the one at the center, their eyes snap open. And you just see very, very green eyes. And he stands.
Hi.
Good evening, Miss Packer. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Please step forward.
Paula looks both ways before stepping forward.
And one of the suited men at the end of the table pulls a chair forward, a very sort of elaborately carved wooden chair with a high back, and puts it in front of the table and gestures for you to sit.
I'll go up and sit nervously.
You can lower yourself into this chair and you hear it creak amongst sort of almost echoes around this hallway of... All you can hear is just this song of the wind chimes, and that wood creaking just interrupts it slightly. And somewhere you can hear a low hum, almost like a song. And the one who stood up does a very sort of low bow to you. Thank you for coming here and offering information.
Of course. I heard that you were willing to help, so uh I don't know who else to go to at this point.
What happened in the library of the academy?
Well, I was in there uh with my friend, and suddenly, and it was just the two of us, and suddenly the lights began to flicker, and then they went out, and I knew right away that the shadow people were probably the cause. And before I knew it, there they were. I had locked myself in my office with the person I was with, and they began to not run, but walk about the library until we attempted to escape. During that escape, they attacked my friend and his Inanakwe.
And this man stares at you. And you notice the other three on each side of him, are sat facing you, but their eyes are not open. But they all nod in unison after you speak. And then the one at the center who looks at you straight, his face offers no emotion, no deciphering. You speak as though you have encountered them before.
That is an accurate observation, as I have encountered them before. A few times. Once when I was walking with a different friend by the world tree. Another time, the season tree. Another time when the trolleys fell from the sky. They were standing outside the cafe. And then a third time when they followed me home from the night market, chased me home from the night market.
And the man pauses and looks over to one of the suited figures. It's a cafe. This is Brew and Bindings, is it not?
That would be correct. My cafe of choice at the minute.
And that is run by one Averick.
Yeah, I don't know him that well, but he has a cute Inanakwe.
And
He's really friendly.
Again, unmoved. And you notice the one in the suit at the end, the brown suits, take notes. And again, the other six nod in unison. What do you do, Miss Packer, other than work in the library?
Well, I'm also a dancer. A rather good one, if I say so myself. I work at the cabaret, and I teach dance lessons as well.
And this friend you were associating yourself with that evening, who was that?
That was Matthias Marks, the brother of Deacon Marks, who's actually just chilling outside. Yeah.
And they pause again. When you were followed home one evening, or chased as you put it, how did you escape?
So I ran, and I kept running for some amount of time, and then I hid, and then my mom found me, and then we escaped.
Your mother found you.
Yeah, my mom, Amma, she I had called her while I was running away, and so she had a general idea of where I was, and she pulled me into an alley and helped me get away.
And there's another pause. Do you share the same last name as your mother?
I do. I'm a Packer.
And
it's kind of funny. It sounds like I'm a Packer because I'm a Packer, but she's Amma Packer.
And there's dead silence as you say that, as he just stares at you, almost, you're not too sure if intrigued or confused. Interesting. She just happened to be out, or you called her?
No, I called her because I was very nervous for my life. I mean, typically when someone is following you home, you know, it's not a good situation. So you call your mom and say goodbye, and you know, last words. And you know, I was gonna tell her to take care of Felonius, but I didn't have a lot of time. I thought I was gonna die then and there. So
Miss Packer, is there any reason to your knowledge why these things would be following you?
No, not at all. I was very confused. I don't know. I live a quiet life. You know, I keep to myself. I don't have I'm not especially social, so I don't really have enemies that I know of. But you know, and it was very, very bizarre to me. But I do know that I'm not the only one that they've been following. A friend of mine, Aggie, she owns a bookstore. You might have been there before. She was also followed by these monsters.
And again, you see this suited man write down in this little notebook. Anything else, information-wise, that you believe we should know of?
Yeah. They didn't seem as interested in me whenever there was someone or they're in an Inakwe nearby. In fact, they didn't even acknowledge my presence. They were almost blind to me. And so that was very strange. Also, I mean, I know you guys just spoke to Noah. How was Noah, by the way? Is he okay? Did he go home?
The young boy is fine. He has been sent home. He gave us the information, and we appreciate it greatly, as much as you have here. And he starts to move around from the side of the table to come towards you as you sit down. And as he does, you notice his hands are also dripping in this gold paint. It's dry, but it's all the way up his arms. And he takes a step forward to you. Please. And he holds out both of his hands.
Do you want me to wash your hands?
Take my hands, set yours in my palms.
Gotcha. And Paula will take his hands.
And he sort of very gently lifts you up out of the chair, so you're standing sort of right next to him. And you realize you're actually not that different in height. And he looks down at your hands and then looks directly into your eyes. And you see that green flash purple. And he pauses and you feel a warmth radiate in your hands. And as if voices and songs and birds and trams, all these sounds rush through your head in 1 second. Thank you for being truthful. And he drops your hands. We do not have much time left in this meeting, but I would like to say how much I appreciate your cooperation.
Yeah, it was no problem. Did you come to any conclusions? Do you have any idea what's going on?
And he takes one step closer. He's not too close to you, but he takes one step closer again. Our advice to you is to distance yourself from magic users. You appear to have attracted these people, as he refers to the shadow people. Perhaps through them. You said your name was Packer, correct?
Yeah, that's my name. Don't wear it out.
And he nods again very slowly. I am afraid our time now has run out.
But before we go, I noticed you don't have an Inanakwe, but you just did some magic trick right then. And I'm just wondering how you did that.
And he smiles. I am blessed by the gods. I see things they want me to see. Now, your mother is here. And you hear a door, effectively what sounds like someone is banging on the door on the outside. And you hear an argument going on outside the door, which definitely sounds like it's between your mother and Deacon Marks. And the man in front of you smiles and looks at you. The time is up. I think you have to go.
Oh, yeah, I should probably go take care of that. Thank you so much. Please keep me updated if you reach any conclusions. You know where to find me. I'll still be at the library. I know you said I shouldn't hang around magic people, but that's my job, so I'm gonna bounce. And
he just stares at you and gives you a very sort of small bow. Thank you for your cooperation. And then almost all in sync, the other's eyes open and you see that purple. And you hear, thank you for your cooperation, all at the same time, out of all of their mouths. And you can hear your mother the other side of that door. It's very muffled because of how thick and heavy the door is. She sounds pretty mad.
Yeah, Paula will sprint through all those the field of wind chimes.
Yeah, you can hear that clanging. No one seems to notice too much of it. There's still a very calm, serene atmosphere in here, but you can run straight through.
And And Paula will burst through the door, looking for Mama Packer.
As you burst through the door, you can hear the door close on itself with a small latch that clicks shut. And you can see Deacon Mark sort of not pressed up against the wall, but he's definitely backed up. He's like, you would threaten a church member, and you can see your mum is hurriedly dressed. She seems to be in pretty much pajama bottoms, a massive jumper, and a jacket. You say, you don't want to know what I would... And then she spots you and walks straight over and grabs you by the arm. We're going now, and you answer your phone next time. Now.
All right.
We're going
bye,
now.
Deacon. Okay. Bye, Deacon Marks.
She starts to drag you out, and you see a smile on Deacon Marks's face. Goodbye, Miss Packer. And you get the distinct feeling he's not talking to you. And she marches you down those stairs. And you pass these robed figures. Again, some of them smile and nod. Some of them don't acknowledge you at all. And she leads you down these staircases through these corridors. She knows exactly where she's going. As she leads you out into the main hall, back through those huge doors at the entrance of the church. And you see your phone that was left on the dish grabbed very tightly in her hand as she thrusts it back into your palm. You never leave this anywhere. I don't care what they say or who tells you what, you take it everywhere. Do you understand me?
Mom, this is very... You're treating me like a child.
Yes, I am. Because that's what you are. You're my child. And that's what they know. Now we're going home.
Is there something you want to tell me, Mom?
Not here. As you can see as she glares at one of the other deacons that walks past. We're going home now.
Okay.
And she marches you out of that door. And we're going to hop over to Charlie. Charlie, it's been an hour or so since you've been with Miles and Faust. What are you doing right now? As you can see, Miles has fallen asleep effectively in one of Faust's sort of really comfy chairs. But Faust is still very much on edge. He's drumming his fingers on the ends of the kitchen table. And you've sat in silence for quite a while. He's made tea. You both have tea in front of you. Otherwise, there has been silence for a long time.
How is his Inanakwe looking?
The Inanakwe seems to be sleeping very much like Miles. It's sort of perched itself on the chair that he's sleeping on, and you can see its head's tucked in. It's sort of fluffed up. This eagle has sort of pulled its wings up over its head, and it too seems to be resting.
Okay. I'm eyeing Miles where he's sleeping. She keeps her voice very low, but in kind of a urgent whisper, finally across to Faust. She says, got to him. Him, not me. Not yet.
How? And Faust takes off his cap and just drops it on the table and runs his hands through his very pink, bright hair. I mean, it's got to be him, right?
I feel his magic on him.
What do we do? What kind of magic? I can't get anything. This is you who can do this stuff.
When I first went to Siren, I needed help, just like putting walls up, like containing this. And it helped. It did, but there's a way to go too far. You block up more than... I mean, I'm sure there's limits, but
you know I'm not a magic user. You know I was a runner. That was it. I literally did the heavy lifting. I don't know what to do other than offer him a safe place. But then how safe is this place if he turned up on my doorstep? Are you okay, Charlie? I mean, up here.
Ghost in my printer just woke up. Okay for now, but I don't... Like, even my place is being watched. I don't know.
Look.
Like, I could stay with friends, but there's only so long that can go on.
Yeah, I know.
I don't want to drag anyone else into this.
I don't understand why he didn't recognize... Well, I don't know if he did recognize me. He just wouldn't stop saying your name when he turned up on my doorstep. I've got another apartment. Bigger than this one. This is actually just where I work and I sleep here, but I've got what used to be my mum's place if you want to go there. It's where Aiden and I stay when Aiden comes to visit, you know. Can take him there.
It's not just where to stay for now, but I don't want to leave him alone now.
We can take turns. I know he's your brother, but he's my friend as well. Okay? I've known him longer than you. Like, I've known you. We can do something about this. We've just got to be careful with it. Because we don't... I don't know. You work something out, drink your tea, and you see him sort of put his head in his hands slightly. Now, this is a guy who has played the uncle figure to you for a long time, and you don't tend to see him stressed or phased. The most you see, he's always confident. The most you see him is embarrassed at times, but he's never worried. He's actually very, very confident, and here you see a very tired man just drinking his tea. And it's gone cold. It's been sat there for ages. And he looks over at Miles and this eagle that sort of breathes in and breathes out exactly the same time as its other half. There's not a scratch on him, Charlie. Other than this, he's intact, I guess you could say.
That's what worries me.
Why does that worry you, Charlie?
Because I don't... This sounds self-centered and stupid, but I'm... Every little thing the last, week has just felt like trying to get my attention, get me out.
Well,
I'm just falling for it every time. I just don't know what is next. Even if this is just temporary.
we don't know what's happened yet. We need to... Oh my god, I sound like my mum. We need to stay hopeful and positive. It's been so long since he's found any of us. What's to say he's found us now? What if he's dropping these things so that we go find him ourselves?
Hey, stick around. I might be able to teach you a few things.
I know he still has people. I met one. Little kid.
A kid? When you say kid, like when you were a kid, or
Younger. She's like 9.
9? Jeez. Okay.
I think she's fine for now. She's not. She's a great runner. Fast. She's the one who broke into my place, actually.
Oh, wait. She broke into your place and you're admiring her? Have you spoken to her since?
Yeah, a couple times.
And he sort of just shakes his head out of disbelief almost and sits back and drinks his cold tea. Is she okay?
She doesn't seem to know who he is.
For any reason?
I think he's getting more careful. He's wiping memories now.
Covering his trails. He's not the show-off he once was. I think. I don't know. But why
Knowing him, he's building up to some big show.
elaborate show-off? Yeah. But a kid? What can a 9-year-old give him? What upper hand? What? Or is he just training them young?
Well, she's awful good at getting in places she ought not be.
Yeah.
And she doesn't know anything more than She has friends and a teacher.
Right now, I don't think we can do a lot. Have you thought about, I know what you're going to say, but have you thought about calling your dads?
Looking at Miles. It may be the safest place to bring him.
You realize you're going to have to tell them you're not at school anymore. I can tell them if you want.
Better for me.
Well,
Besides, with him, I think that'll take a bit more attention.
yeah. He needs rest. And he sort of looks over at Miles, who is sort of fidgeting now in a more Miles-like fashion, where he is laying in this chair. I think he's been awake a very long time before this. Or at least just not rested properly. Look at his face. And it is drawn, like it is so tired, and there's bags under his eyes. He can have my bed. I'll put him in there. It's okay to ask for help, Charlie.
You've been very good at that.
No, you're terrible. Awful, in fact. It's kind of why I'm here.
What time is it by now?
You're looking at like 11 p.m. at night, 10:30.
Does Colin's phone even receive text messages?
I don't know, Tolan, does it? You're muted, Tolan.
Yeah, he doesn't know how to unmute his phone either. Yeah, it's probably like old, like an old alpha pager type idea. It probably can only, it's gonna be one of the ones where you can only transmit whatever, like 70 characters at a time, and that it will be like out of room. Your message is too large. Please reduce its size when you try to send it. So you might have to balance it a couple times or split it up.
Yeah, I think I tried to text a longer explanation. Didn't work. So now it's just very point form.
Yeah.
Staying here tonight. Tell Nadie bye.
Okay. Yes, BlackBerry format.
She's just frustrated, just what do I do?
Do you want to stay here tonight, or do you want to? And he sort of looks over at Miles. He's like, not to be paranoid, but keep you in two separate places. It's up to you.
I want to be here when he wakes up.
Okay. Take my bed. There's no moving him. And you can hear that snore as he sort of rolls over, and this eagle shudders briefly before sort of resting. You see it slide down the side, almost resting in the nook of his neck.
I find actually I will drape my jacket over him and just kind of give both his head and His equals whatever is exposed, I suppose, like back of her head. Just a very gentle, like comforting brush, and
you see them both sort of like raise their shoulders up, and Miles smiles lightly, but otherwise he remains asleep. And Faust looks over at you and he hands you this blanket. He's like, it's getting chillier in the evenings now. You're going to want that as well.
thanks.
Okay. I'm going to make another cup of tea because this one's cold. And do you want another one before bed?
Yeah. I want your tea.
That I can do. Ellie sort of walks over to the pot and starts it boiling. And then we're going to hop over to Tolan. Tolan, you have received this message as you can have said goodbye to Nadie before her trip, as she needed a good night's sleep. But you are currently just coming up to Broom Bindings with Averick.
I think
This-
Tolan.
No, go on. You go.
No, Tolan very much is. What is that noise?
It's a
What is
phone.
that?
It's a phone.
That's not my phone.
It is your phone. This is the thing that we've been.
My phone has a totally different ring than that.
For me, yes, not for text messages. Like, and he's sort of like actually
Read a
reads.
text message.
You know, the non. Just pick up your phone. Oh my gosh, Tolan, pick up your phone.
What? He pulls it out and he goes, "Oh,
A text
look at
message.
that. Someone's staying where they are and wants us to say goodbye to Nadie."
Let me look at that. And he sort of reaches over and takes it. He's like, it's from Charlie. Like, as he looks over. There, look. Can you
Oh,
see?
Charlie, she's so nice.
This is the name at the top there. See where it says from? That. You want to look at that?
Oh. Well, why they don't make it so confusing? It should be there. It's like to Tolan from Charlie, like a proper letter.
And you just see his shoulders rise and sigh. And he looks up at the sign of Broom
Told you he's
Bindings.
a useless, and he puts it back in his pocket.
You got them. And he stops himself. This is me.
So, yes. I'm afraid if it's not already being watched, very soon could possibly be searched, my place. So perhaps we should leave this here, and
I think it's best.
I think Nadie's idea, while bold, is probably correct, is to put it right out in the open. Maybe back on your back shelf with the teas or something, is that you're trying something new. I mean, the terrariums have been in there for a few days now, so the regulars might...
I'll take it up to my room every evening, and I'll bring it down every day.
Well, and there was the whole incident with the ferns, so they'll all know that you try things.
If it starts sassing me whilst I'm trying to get to sleep, though, I am locking it downstairs, just so you're aware.
Oh, just tell it to be quiet, to shut up. It seems quite happy now.
And you can sort of like hear this soft song coming from wherever it's been hidden. And he's like,
nice. There's a lullaby.
yeah, that's exactly what I need. Okay, no, it's fine. It's fine. Just give it here.
Yes. Well, Averick, thank you
Why?
for getting dragged back into all of this.
I was here, when the thing, like those shadows and that stuff happened. You know
Yes,
that, right?
but I understand. But what I'm saying is, for just say thank you.
Thank you, Tolan.
Yes. Or you're welcome either way.
or you're welcome, whichever you prefer. And he sort of does this elaborate little moment, tries not to drop the terrarium, but starts to get his keys out.
Some things never change.
And he sort of again lets out a sigh as he's opening the door, like, don't say anything, don't say anything.
Everything will be better in the morning.
Yeah. You coming here in the morning? Because this is like one of those joint pets now, you realize, because I'm not going to deal with it all the time.
Well, I'm not sure if my curiosity would keep me away, but we'll see how the morning goes. Who knows what might be in store. If Paula spent the afternoon and evening with the Seers, who knows where they're going to be bound to come sniffing around next.
Yep. That's what I needed before I went to bed. And he sort of does like a quick stretch. He's like,
Clyde will keep you safe.
yeah, and he looks down and gives him a bit of a scratch on the head. He always does.
Well, and if there's a real emergency, you can call me. And he holds out his phone very
Will you answer?
Will the ring be the same? Will it be your
Should
ring?
be. Look, if a sound comes from this, pick it up.
Okay. I'll
No
leave it
matter
next.
the sound, pick it up.
I'll leave it next to the bed.
And he sort of takes his out and he's like, and don't forget, you can call me as well. It works.
Yes.
It's like a two-way thing.
Well, I did, if you recall, I did call you when I first came across the sphere.
You did. It was a bit of a shock, actually.
Well, you gave this to me, what, 10 years ago? I'm surprised it actually still works, but...
It's as ancient as half the stuff that we used to find.
Well, artifacts. It's a business we're in. Again, apparently.
Yeah. I didn't expect this to happen.
Me neither.
I know it's a terrible thing and it's scary and it's terrifying. We don't know what it does. So I'm kind of happy about it.
I am too, but don't tell anyone I said that. And he walks off.
Yeah, it's like, bye! Like, as he sort of
Don't buy me.
I'm going.
Lock the door after you go in.
Oh, yeah. And you sort of hear the bell on Broom Bindings open and then close, and you hear that lock and all those additional locks that have been effectively strapped to this door start sort of go off. And you can walk back down the street. It is much cooler in the evening now. It is much, much cooler.
Tolan sort of bundles up his coat, and there's a little bit of a lightness to his step. And even though he knows it could all come tumbling back out with just another encounter with, doesn't even have to be Deacon Marks, it could just be another person in town to bring it all down. His mind right now is still kind of reeling from what he saw Nadi do. And in his mind, he's painting a picture of Charlie and Nadi and Averick off being seekers. He does not include himself in that portrait in his mind quite yet. But he starts to assemble that team that could maybe do a lot of good for this city and this world. And certainly some of the weight of the scar does hit him as he walks back into the darker part of the city, having been just so recently reminded that it is his burden to bear. And I think it doesn't take long, back in his shop, which now he's been away from for all but 2 days, having spent the night with Aggie last night. He tries to hold on to those feelings of those adventures, those potentially new generation of seekers. But as he looks around, his life sort of does close in on him pretty rapidly. He hangs up his coat and his new hat, and he keeps trying to hold on to sort of these little sparks. And he's even afraid to call it in his own mind as hope. And then sort of drifts back into sort of the gray and dust-filled junk shop that is the sort of front half of his house, up the little small 2 or 3 steps up to the living area. He does put the phone down beside his bed, but puts the kettle on, and probably takes a while before he finally tries to lay down and get to sleep. But he eventually does. But it is his normal sort of fitful sleep, filled with unpleasant memories. He can't quite seem to break through the last 8 years and back into sort of his life before.
And as much as your home is pretty dark, almost very grey, there's not a lot of colour in it. You do see that geranium made by Nadir up on the windowsill. And you hear the rain start to fall as it sort of patters against the window. And you can peacefully fall asleep. And you feel fairly rested after the night before. And when you wake, it is still raining. It hasn't stopped yet. And there is light coming through the window, as much as it is dull from this overcast sky. It casts a light over your organized chaos, or mess as Aggie calls it, that is your belongings, these trinkets you've made. They sort of all start to merge into one. And you see something stacked up in the corner that catches your eye as you feel not in a good mood, but you've woken up without the dread of the day. And you see piles and piles of sketches, mixtures of sketches, like silly things as well as very serious ideas and blueprints and things like that. And you've realized in this sort of dull light, you'd forgotten they were there. But it's almost like after the evening before, you remember they're there.
Yes. I figure it's early. It's all but just dawn break, but with the gray skies, it's not much light. But he looks over at his desk, and there are stacks and stacks and stacks of reference things and other pieces and parts. And there at the very bottom, actually very neat compared to everything else, is this folio. And that beginning of an idea from the night before, this idea of Nadie and Averick and Charlie sort of going back out to continue the work at the old sites, the ruins, catches in his mind and sort of locks together with that folio. And he kind of looks at them, makes himself look away, goes over to the stove, gets his old kettle on the real flame, old whistle type kettle, and kind of speaks with himself. Do I really want to go there this morning? And he's asked himself that many times over the last 8 years. And usually the answer does land on being no. But he makes his cup of tea and he sort of cleans off the little dining room table that he has, this sort of just little sort of two-top. It's almost like a banquette type idea built into the wall. He cleans it off of everything, wipes it down to make sure it's dry, and goes over and pulls out this old folio. On the front of it is sort of the worn off sort of silver and gold leaf crest of the academy. And he brings it over, and as though handling something almost sacred, he opens it up, looks down at some of his old drawings. And there on the front page of the first one is big, bold letters and titles: The Exciting Explorations of Edric Amal. And it's like a comic book from back when he was using his drawing skills to draw the adventures of one of his heroes, instead of necessarily drafting new inventions. And he begins to flip through the pages, looking at them, and he finds himself taken back.
And as he is drawn into these images, these sketches, we are going to do a flashback. And we find ourselves in the Academy Library many years ago. And Tolan, how old are you?
Tolan at this point is probably 15. And he is in his third year at the academy, but is still taking some second year classes. He is not a good student. In fact, right now he's in the library skipping his transmutation class, his intermediate transmutation class, which he's taking for the second time. And you would find him all the way up at the top of the library, up a long spiral staircase. And there's a table there, and there's a round sort of stained glass window, and Baron, his Great Dane Anakwe, has flopped himself down on this big cushy chair that sits in front of the window, as Tolan is actually on the floor, sort of on his knees on this sort of coffee height table, where he is sketching away at these comics that he is drawing up of his hero. He is drawing Edric Amal, who is truly this outstanding figure in Toland's mind. He's gone to the cinema and seen every newsreel about the artifacts and inventions that Edric has brought back from different ruins from around Dunera, and how his work has revolutionized the city, revolutionized Karnan. And he currently is drawing a comic book, The Exciting Explorations. It's the second in his series, the first one being The Amazing Adventures, because alliteration is good with comics. And he is trying to piece together in his mind, filling in the gaps the newsreels didn't fill in, as Edric went off and discovered the artifact that invented and changed the trams to now be the wonders that they are now, that can travel both between surface Karnan and the underwater parts of the city. And it's completely changed how people travel and are able to utilize the whole city because of this artifact and the amazing work that Edric has done.
And you're in this library on the top level. You've got Baron snoring away in the chair, sort of flopped down in this comfy chair. And the huge stained glass windows sort of create this very colourful pattern that dances over both of you and the lower levels of the library as the summer sun is coming through. When it's coming to mid-afternoon, some lessons are finishing. There's not as many people in the library as usual. You can definitely see Miss Terrell, the librarian, sort of marching in between all the bookcases, all the tables, silencing students if they're too loud.
Toland definitely keeps an eye out for her position, because he's put his pencil down and he wants to do some firsthand research for one of the sketches that he's trying to draw, kind of figure out body position. And so he's keeping an eye out for where she's gotten herself to, so that she is far enough away and certainly doesn't have line of sight up here to this upper balcony 4 stories up over sort of the atrium area.
You could see her heading towards her office, like by the desk area, sort of not round a corner, but it's definitely out of your main line of sight. It looks to be some people are trying to check out some books, but she isn't necessarily focused in your direction. You can see a couple of people sat on the tables below, but can't quite make them out.
And Toland, seeing that, sort of looks over and sort of gives Baron a swat and goes, "Watch this, Baron." And kind of waits for Baron to wake up. And he goes and leaps up on top of the top rail of this balcony over this 4-story drop down to the floor of the library, and begins to walk it like a tightrope.
And you see Baron sort of give you a confused look as he sort of wakes up, trudges sort of over, sort of lolls off of this sofa, this comfy chair, and puts these 2 huge paws up on the balcony, just sort of to watch you go.
And
no, go on.
I think Toland sort of starts talking to me, goes, "See, Baron, transmutation, no one needs that. All it's good for is money, so I can buy the books that I want to get, biology, anatomy, because look how much better my balance is now." As he goes sort of walking along this high beam and kind of does a little spin on top of it. And he goes, I'll teach myself shaping.
And almost copying you see Baron rest his head on this balcony and go, like, as you say it at the same time, and just sort of look down, not really looking at you. And I do need you to roll for balance.
That's fine. No, that's great.
Let's roll a speed.
Okay. And yeah, I'm just gonna roll flat, see how we do.
Okay.
On an 11.
Okay. So you don't fall, but you wobble.
So yeah, he wobbles a little bit and catches his balance. And then, see, no problems. It's like I can go to anywhere I want. Any of a dozen vendors turn their steep steel into something shiny. They give me money, I can go buy books, and every time make myself a little better. And he's now walking backwards on the handrail.
And Baron gives you like this side eye, sort of looking over. And I'm going to make the difficulty harder.
Oh, yeah.
You can roll again for me, please. Oh! Okay, describe how you are right now.
So he's walking backwards and is now flipped over and is on his hands. Goes, stronger too? See, I'd never let the Academy teach me this. They don't understand what a seeker needs in order to go out and find the artifacts that the city needs. And so now he's trying to walk on his hands backwards on this.
Okay, this is difficult.
Yeah, I want it to be, yeah.
Okay, roll. If you get another nat 20.
I know if I can. Okay.
How would you like to fall?
So Tolan misses with one of his hands, and in his overconfidence starts to tip over the side down to over this 4-foot drop, and as his hands, as he starts to fall in his center of balance, sort of pull his hands away. I would like to use one of my special skills if I can.
Yes, you can.
Baron probably looking at him, probably with
Baron doesn't look alarmed. If anything, he started padding down the staircase.
Yeah. Tolan reaches out, and you see basically his forearms and then his fingers actually get a little bit longer until he can, and sort of almost wrap around the railing as though there's more joints there than there should be, to grab onto it and save himself before he pushes himself back up and over onto the other side. He's see, Baron, shaping, no problems. That's what good seekers do. Quick. And he kind of backs away from the edge a little bit.
And you didn't quite notice, but one of the, not corridors, one of the bookcases starts to slide open and apart as a man walks forward with a pair of glasses on and a book up round his face. It's almost like he doesn't want to be seen, but he puts it down and looks at you.
Nothing to see here.
Well, yes, of course not. And you see this very dark brown, messy hair, which almost looks like it's tried to be styled, but it's definitely not. And you see a pair of very tatty-looking jeans, like rough jeans, these heavy boots, and a very smart sort of black jacket. As Edric Amal stands in front of you, just like, That was close.
Toland's jaw hits the floor.
Breathe, please. Otherwise you'll just fall off again.
But you're Edric Amal. What? Why are you in? Why are you in my? Why? Not that you shouldn't be allowed to be at the library.
He shoves a hand over your mouth and is like, I don't want people to know I'm here. So if we could just... Yeah. And he takes his hand away. He's like, we could just keep the tone down a little bit.
I've seen all the newsreels. I've studied all of your things. I drew you.
And he looks, you see him push some glasses down. This guy looks to be about 28 years old. And he looks, he's like, oh, yeah, it does look like me, doesn't it? Ah, would you look at that? And he's sort of like looking like at this drawing. He's like, can I look at it properly? And he sort of reaches over. He just gets over and like hands him this whole stack showing of like the adventures, the first one, which was about one of his previous things before this. It's about you going and going over there to the island and across. That's the rope bridge to go and get the octopus thing that you with the trams, and how it makes it so that we can. You're really. Your stuff is amazing. You draw me a lot. And he starts filling through. He's like, oh, I remember that one. And he's sort of going through these comics and smiles. And he's like, that's awesome. And he holds it back out to you.
He just sort of grabs them and holds them. Thanks.
That thing you did to stop yourself from falling this quite.
Oh, yeah, and you see his fingers get back shorted with. Oh, it's well, I'm in transmutation because I was bored when they were doing the placement exams, and it was kind of like that's weird to try to learn from weird stuffy old teachers about transmorphology, and so I'm the transmutation track, but I can shape as well.
And he's paused looking at you, and he pushes his round glasses back on top of his head. You see this flick of black hair as they sort of get caught in them. He's like, breathe. Yeah. Now, if we, again, the whole quiet thing.
Oh, right, yes.
Otherwise, and you can hear that, keep it down, shout that. It's like,
she's not very nice. We'll have dissension. Well, I'll have,
She was here when I was here. It's fine. Now.
You have the same librarian that I have?
Yeah. You seen how old she is? She's been here for ages.
Oh, well, all right. Well, yeah, okay. Yeah, right. Of course. Stupid.
Do you know where I can get coffee? I'm gasping for coffee.
Yeah, there's the place I go. It's Castaccino's. It's down the road a little bit. It's 3 blocks away from the Season Tree. It's kind of nice. It's cool. It's a little trendy, but they've got good sandwiches. They've got this nice one that's kind of like the sandwiches. Well, they say it's kind of like the sandwiches from Villadris because they're squished flat, and they've got ham and pork, and they're really good in pickles. I could show you. I could take you there.
Well, I was gonna say you coming, but
yeah, and he just goes and shoves everything into his pack and just, Baron, come on.
And you see this green sort of an archway flutter from the top rafters of this library as this kestrel swoops down and lands on his shoulder. Ready?
It's
Yes.
He's so cool. That time when he saved, I'm sorry, that time when he swooped in and helped you get the artifact at the last second, that was did that really happen? Or was that just for the newsreels?
No, yeah, that happened. Should we go get coffee?
Yes, coffee. Coffee, yes. Yes, let's go have some coffee.
Okay. brilliant. And he sort of starts walking. Thank you. And he sort of starts walking down the staircase, and you see him flick the glasses he's wearing to sunglasses, and he quickly ruffles his hair so it changes to blonde, almost as if he's not wanting to be recognized, as he pulls his jacket up, flips it up a little bit, hands in his pockets as he strolls down this metal staircase.
Tolan turns to Baron and is just like,
again, there's over sort of a roll eyes to the side.
Tolan messes up his hair and it turns a little bit lighter. It doesn't go all the way to blonde, but it turns a little bit lighter.
And you see him sort of slide along and try and avoid the librarian, sort of gives her a little bit of a wave, and she peers down over her glasses and points at him, and he's like, okay, we need to go. I'm not fondly remembered by her. Can we go now? And he starts hurrying with his.
I think
hands.
Tolan is already behind another bookcase because he knows that he's busted if it's caught. So it's if he turns around, Tolan's already hiding. Of course, there probably is a large Great Dane tail that sticks up over this one of these half bookcases.
And you see sort of Edric stand up very straight and start shuffling out, hands still in his pockets as he sort of strolls down. As soon as he leaves that academy doorway, he smiles, and you see him relax. Okay, where's this coffee place then?
I think probably Tolan all but does the exact same thing once he gets outside, just and kind of looks to see that he had done the same thing. It's just oh, right. Yeah, right this way. And
great, yeah.
Go down the path, sort of down the Grand Canal to this place, Castachinos. And when they go in, Baron goes in and sort of curls down around a little two-seater table sort of off by itself, as though that's sort of the normal table.
And Edric looks up at this sign written in blue. He's like, nice place, and sort of walks in.
It's small, but it's kind of cool.
Do you drink coffee? You can't drink beer.
No, yeah.
And he's sort of looking over at you briefly.
Well, if you want a beer, we could have a beer, but I kind of like coffee better. But having a beer would be great.
How old are you?
15. 15.
We'll have coffee. And he sort of walks over to the bar and is like, go and grab a seat. I'll be there in a second.
Okay.
And after ordering the coffee, you see him. He seems to be very relaxed. For someone who is an apparent, I guess he's seen almost like a celebrity at this point. But he does not seem to notice that. You can see a few people turn and look at him as he comes and sits down with you and sort of leans over, puts the cup of coffee down, flicking his glasses back over to normal and pushes them back on top of his hair, which he sort of shakes briefly as it goes back to black. He's like, this is nice, isn't it?
Yes. So hi, I'm Tolan.
Hi, Tolan. I'm Edric.
Yeah. So how are things?
Good. I mean, I'm having coffee. I've learned that someone's drawing a comic about me today, and I got my work done.
What were you working on?
And he looks at you and leans in.
Can you talk? Can you talk about it? Can you tell me, what are you working on?
No.
Right. I totally understand. No, that's fine. That's fine. I totally understand.
And he smiles at you. He's like, what do you do? What do you want to do when you get, I don't know, when you leave?
Turns beet red. Just literally from the tips of his ears, just beet red.
You cannot know.
You know what? I want to be a seeker just like you.
Well, it is a lot of fun.
It seems it. And you're out there and you're seeing stuff and you're out of this city and you have to deal with the academy and classes and...
Oh, I have to deal with the academy.
Well, but you're with the church now, right?
Oh, yeah. So apparently they need me for something. It's what happens when...
You were like the best of like anyone. You graduated younger. You were the top of every class.
Okay, Tollum. I didn't graduate.
What?
I didn't graduate. That's what they want you to think, so everyone keeps working hard at it. Screw that. I left.
You left.
Though you should stay in school, and you can see him as like he looks around as other people are sort of looking at him.
Wait, you left? You can just do that? You can leave?
Wow.
But you've got some of the things that you do when you're, I mean, so you taught yourself?
Yes. There's nothing like
more
you can learn from actual experience, kid.
He pulls out all these books on shaping. I've been teaching myself shaping because, like I said, I'm in the transmogrification track. You know, metals to one other metal or rock to clay.
Yeah.
It's boring and awful, but this is what I'm really good at. But you know, I looked at the curriculum and it was like, oh, you can, you know, make your eyes change color. It's like, I'm taller than I used to be. He kind of looks real proud of himself.
And he looks at you. That happens when you grow.
But no, I did this. I'm pretty sure I did it. Like more than I was. Well, you saw my fingers, and he makes his fingers get a little bit longer again and get a little bit shorter. Yeah. So I didn't fall. Because
I did see that. That was rather impressive.
You think so?
Well, yeah. I dropped out of that class way earlier.
Wait. You were a shaper too at one point?
Yeah. How do you think I fixed some of the stuff on the trams?
They don't talk about that you were a shaper, though.
Yeah,
they just say how gifted you are.
Because I dropped out of the class. That teacher hates me. And he sort of leans back in this chair, and you actually see him put his boots up. Not on the table, but there's a lower stool that he puts his boots up on as he slouches in this chair, and this kestrel sort of perches itself on the end of the table and starts sort of eyeing up Baron, just sort of turning his head from side to side.
Oh, this is Baron.
Oh, hi. And he sort of just looks over, and he looks as if he's about to say something when his phone starts to ring. And he's like, oh god. And he starts like patting himself down, and he pulls out this flip phone, and he puts it to his ear, and he's like, oh, yeah, no, I've definitely picked that up. Yeah, I was just making a stop. I'm on my way home. Yep. Yeah, okay, sweetie. Like, and you sort of hear that, like, he's like, okay, I'll be there soon. I'm just having coffee with a friend. Yeah, and then I'll be there. Okay. Bye. And he sort of like flicks it off. He's like, yeah, I forgot. I came out to get milk.
You were at the library.
Yeah, I get distracted real easy.
You too?
I had an idea and I just had to run with it.
Do you need something from the library? I could get it for you.
No, it's okay. But maybe I'll see you.
Mind, okay.
Maybe I'll see you in there again. Don't scream my name next time.
Oh, okay. I was trying to figure out how to draw you on the rope bridge. That's why I was up on the rail.
And he sort of looks at you. I know as the adult I'm supposed to say, don't do that again. But I'm not. And he stands up.
Tolan beams.
Okay.
So bye, Mr. What should I call you? I don't want to be disrespectful.
It's fine. It's fine. It's what everyone else calls me.
Bye, Edric. Yeah, if you need anything, I'll be somewhere. You'll
be
Great.
in the library. Skipping class.
Yes. Well, hiding in the or skipping class or here or yeah. Yes. That's where I'll be.
And he gives you that a very sort of probably a very charming smile. So then maybe I'll see you around Tolan. And he sort of pushes himself up, straightens out his jacket, pulls his glasses back down, flicks them over to the shades, tucks his hands in his pockets, and you hear that phone ring again. It's like, yes, I'm coming. Yep, I'm leaving now. As you hear him walk out the door, he gives you a bit of a wave as he walks past.
He gives finger guns, looking like a total idiot.
And he gives you a bit of a wave as he walks past on the phone. You can see him like beaming. He's got the biggest smile on his face when he talks on the phone to this person. And he disappears down one of the streets.
Oh my god. And Tolan just puts his head down on the table. And Baron, oh my god, I gave Edric a mill finger guns. Oh my god. And he just
As you sit there in self-turmoil, we will hop over to Paula. And as we hop over to Paula, would you have gone straight home? Would you have gone straight to bed? Or
Nope. Well, when Paula would go home with her mom and immediately begin pressing her.
yeah, she stays mostly silent the entire way home, and then those keys go in the lock. She pushes it open. You see Felonius, who's like been up at the door, sort of get moved out the way, and she's not storms over in the kitchen, but presses forward in the kitchen and starts putting the kettle on, and things start to clank around. Everything is more heavy-handed than before. She turns around with her hands on the counter, is like, why did you leave your phone? And she looks more scared than anything now, like upset, not angry.
I left my phone because the Deacon Mark said that they don't allow phones in the chamber with the Seers.
You don't go to the church, okay? You just don't. You don't go. You should have read my... And she sort of looks at it, she's like, I know you didn't get my message. And you
No,
can have flicked it open, it just says, don't go in. I'm coming. Just...
Mom, why are you freaking out? They're just trying to help.
That's how they work. They want you to think they're helping, and then they get all the information they can. They're not there for the people. They're there for themselves.
Mom, you're not making any sense. What did they... You have a history with the church. You never told me about them before.
I used to work there. That's it. I used to work there. I was one of the watchers. One of those people in the brown suits with the rising sun patrolling the streets, keeping an eye on people and doing all of that. And she sort of pulls up a stool and sits down.
Mom, what did they do?
Look, Just don't go back there, okay? Please.
Mom, what did they do?
And she takes a deep breath and she drops her head. And when she looks back up again, you can see her eyes welling up. They ruined our lives. That's what they did. They ruined our lives. And I left on the promise that we could go without any hassle.
Mom, you're scaring me. I can't even believe that you... I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. And you seem very intense. I didn't think we kept secrets from each other.
We don't, but this is what I had to keep. Okay? It just so that you could go to the academy, grow up, and be fine. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
You know, there have been a lot of times that you've had so many opportunities to be honest with me, and we're standing here now, and even now, even after you've made it abundantly clear that you're keeping secrets, you're still not being honest. Why won't you tell me what happened?
It was for your own safety and mine. A deal that I was not allowed to even be a part of.
What kind of deal?
Okay. And she disappears into her bedroom quickly and comes back with a small box. Okay. I worked for the church. I was a watcher, a good one, a really good one. I stuck to all the rules. I did everything by the book. Absolutely everything. We would be assigned people to watch, or as they called them, our partners. But I did everything by the book. And then they assigned someone to me. And she can't help but smile slightly at the corner of her mouth. And he was a real pain in the ass. And he was great. And they assigned me to him because I did things by the book, because he was chaotic. He was a mage, he needed to be watched. But the church also needed him. And she pauses for a moment. It's how I met your father and the problems he caused for the church. And no matter what anyone tells you, he was a good man.
No one's telling me anything, Mom. That's the point.
That's because they don't know who you are for a reason. You can't... He was seen as one of the most dangerous and brilliant men of his time. Sorry, Jay just left. And she pauses again. He disappeared. Your father disappeared. There was a deal made that we could go when you were just 3 years old. They will tell you he is a murderer. They will tell you was, I don't know, dangerous. Here, you can have these now. And she pushes the box open and you can see her filter through letters and letters, all these letters over time. And the first thing she hands over is, it almost looks like a locket, but it's in the shape of a kestrel. And this is one of your trinkets as she pushes it forward to you. He gave this to me before he disappeared. One of two things. It's like a flare. You get in trouble, and she holds it out to you, press in the wings, and green sparks will shoot out of it to give someone, let them know where you are. It was something he was very set on me having. And this. And she reaches in again and pulls out a large brass compass with a shell-like background with around the side. I think it's broken. It doesn't point north. But he carried it with him everywhere. I will talk about it more, and she reaches over and sort of holds both your hands in hers. He is not bad. He was the opposite of bad. He was great.
Paula pulls her hands away from her mom. Listen, I don't mean to be insensitive, but I really don't care about this man who I never really knew. I don't really care what people think about him. And maybe it would have been nice to have him around. I'll never know. But I, right now, in this moment, cannot believe that after everything that we've been through, that you would keep secrets like this from me. Whether it put me in danger or whether it was just because you didn't want to hurt me.
This is about hurt, Paula. This is about life and death.
I've had to put so much trust in you throughout my life. And to think that you have so little trust in me. You're constantly worried about my safety to the point where it feels like I'm suffocating sometimes. And to think that at the cost of my safety came at the price of your honesty with me is heartbreaking. I don't want these gifts right now.
Your safety is and always has been my first priority, and your father's. I'm sorry that you think I have lied to you in some cases. Yes, I have. And I did it for very good reason.
I'm a grown woman, Mom.
Yes, you are. And that won't stop them coming after you. You don't have to take any of these. It's my fault we're in this situation. I fell in love with the wrong man. Take it however you will. I will be here to talk. If you want.
I don't want to talk right now. In fact, I don't really want to be here right now. And Paula will she'll go into her room, close the door behind her, and she'll go to take a key out of her pocket and unlock one of her drawers, where the drawer where she put the newspaper clipping about the Blightbringer. Next to it there's a very old book, and she'll take the book and then storm out of the house and go to her dance studio.
Yeah, you can storm straight out of there. She doesn't stop you. She watches you go. And when I say it's raining outside, it's pattering down. It's not really anything major. As you walk through the streets, you can walk past the season tree. You see Matthias sat under the tree. He doesn't see you. You see Matthias sat underneath this tree. He seems to be reading a book, sort of keeping out of the rain. Do you stop or do you keep going?
I keep going.
You can keep going past the season tree and Matthias, and through those cobbled streets you can see all of the berries, all of the flowers sort of really lit up as the sky is really grey. And you can come to your dance studio, and before you reach there you see Noah stood outside with just his bag over his head, looking in, like he's trying to look in the window to see if anyone's in there.
Paula has like the book under her coat, trying to protect it. Noah, is that you?
And he turns round, still like bag on his head. He's like, "Miss, hi."
Hi, Noah. How are you doing? How is this? Actually, why don't we go inside and we can talk?
Yeah, no, that sounds great. I'm a bit soggy.
Yeah. And Paula will unlock the doors to the studio.
Yeah, you can both sort of duck in, and Noah sort of slams the lights on. He's going, you can hear that power up of the as they all start to power up along the dance studio.
They're probably flickering. It's like a really cheap place.
Yeah, you just hear like the sop of like Noah's trainers squelching as he walks in, and this little salamander that sort of pops its head out from one of the pockets. Hi, Miss.
Hi, Noah. How was your meeting with the Seekers, or the Seers, rather?
Well, I know it's late, but I actually came here to see how you were, because they said you were going in after me. I just told them what I saw.
Yeah, that's what I did. I mean, they seemed nice enough. They were just a little creepy.
Real creepy. I don't like them. Did you notice they don't blink?
You know, I kind of did notice that. And they're all like, they're covered in they're all dirty. I mean, it's like pretty, it's gold, but I thought they were asking me to wash their hands at one point. It was weird.
You tried to wash their hands?
No, I didn't. I asked for
Oh.
permission. I mean, I didn't ask for permission. I
Well,
asked if they wanted me to. It was really weird.
Yeah, yours sounds weirder than mine. They literally
did
just
you-
sat me down in a chair and had a chat.
Well, that was pretty much what we did too, but I just was a little confused. Did you notice that they have magic, but no Inanakwe? Or they did some kind of weird hocus pocus?
Yeah, I was going to ask him that, and then I thought, maybe not. Because they didn't exactly look like the happiest of chappies.
I mean, they didn't really look sad either.
Well, no, but my God, were they unnerving.
Yeah, they were almost as stoic as the creepy statues that watch you as you walk in.
Right?
Yeah,
What were those wind chime things about?
they were annoying, really noisy. Well, I'm glad it all worked out. Hopefully, they'll be able to do something for us.
Are you all right, miss? Because no offense, you don't look it.
I'm a little shaken up. My mom showed up at the
At the church?
church. I don't want to get into it right now, but
Okay.
we got into a fight. Mm. I just needed to get out of the house.
Well, I got a flask of hot chocolate if you want some.
That would actually be really nice. If I'm being honest, that would be really nice.
Okay. And he sort of like reaches into this very soggy bag. You see that everything in it is soaking wet, but he quickly just like, you see his hand hover over it and it just sort of, almost like the bag breathes and relaxes as it dries off, almost like it shakes it off. And he reaches in and pulls out a couple of mugs. And you can smell that hot chocolate, that really rich smell, as he starts to pour it in a couple of mugs. And he goes and sits down against the glass, against the mirror. And he holds one out to you as he drops a marshmallow in one of them. Hot chocolate? I locked myself out again.
No,
It's all right. It's all right.
I would offer you my place, but there's some like bad mojo happening there right now, so.
Hot chocolate then.
Hot chocolate. And
Cheers.
Cheers.
Sort of clink as he sort of sits back against these mirrors and starts, like, you see him sort of go, hat, like as he sort of like burns his lips mildly.
Be careful. Be careful.
It's good though, isn't it?
It is good. It's perfect for a rainy day like today.
Yeah. You don't think they'll want to see us again, do you?
I hope not. I hope that they just figure this out and not everything will go back to normal and that all of this will blow over. It's been a lot in the last couple days. Have you been okay since the attack?
Yeah, no. Fine. I mean, he sort of pulls his sleeve up, he rolls up the soggy jumper, and you see that handprint, that almost white handprint. It's like, I mean, it's not going down at all, but it doesn't hurt anymore, I think. And he sort of goes to poke it, but stops himself.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't mess with it right now if it's still healing.
Yeah. But I'm fine, honest. I mean, if you and that other guy hadn't been there, I don't know what would have happened.
That other guy, he has a name, actually. His name is Matthias. I think you guys would get along.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's also fun, like you.
Well, I do need to say thank you at some point.
You know, I actually saw him sitting out by the season tree, I think you should introduce yourself. And I kind of need space right now anyway. I just need to kind of decompress a little bit.
And he looks at you with a smile. He goes, oh, okay, yeah. And he sort of like stops and he goes to pack up and he's like, you keep the flask and I'm going to go and find him. Okay?
All right. Thank you, Noah.
Okay.
And tell him I say hi too.
Okay. I can do that. You sort of see him like pull this rucksack back on. He lifts up his shirt collar so that the salamander sort of snugs his way back in and sort of tucks itself around his neck. So, maybe I'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, miss?
Definitely. See you tomorrow, Noah.
Okay, bye. And he sort of closes the
Bye.
door and you see him knock on it and just wave and then sort of you see him go the wrong way and then come back the other way as he starts going back towards the season tree. And what do you do whilst you sit in your dance studio?
So, after letting out a deep sigh, Paula sits with her flask of hot chocolate and she pulls the book out of her jacket. It's like this the book is an old tome and it's incredibly detailed. It has all kinds of fancy gilding and it looks like there's some important information in there. But then she opens up the book, and this is a book that she's opened up many times before. And none of the writing is comprehensible to her. It all seems to be in another language that she can't understand. And it's filled with images of bodies and organs and muscles and bones, and there's different symbols and they're moving in strange ways. And some of the images are reminiscent of Paula's dances. Some of the images reflect the costumes that she's made with the patterns of the exposed muscles and the poses that these figures are striking reflect the poses in her dance routines. And she flips to a section that shows arteries and veins in blue and red ink, and the figures are doing all kinds of bizarre motions. They're wrapping their arms around themselves and they're reaching for the sky, and Paula stands up and she begins mimicking those poses. And she spends the next few hours connecting from pose to pose and putting together a new dance routine. Trying to distract herself from all the things that have been stressing her out. This is her safe space, and whenever she's stressed out, whenever she's overwhelmed, this is what she does. She opens up this book and she learns the next routine, and she's making her way very methodically through this book section by section. And the last section that she just went through was the muscular system, and Yeah, so now she's learning this new routine, and there's lots of ebb and flow, and there's a lot of pulsing, almost like the beating of a heart. And
and you move fluidly around this dance. So if anyone was to walk past, they would just see this lit room, and they'd probably imagine music, this music that isn't playing, but it's definitely in your head as you start creating these images, these movements from this book almost of anatomy, and all of these different shapes, symbols, movements, fluid motions as it sets into the early hours of the morning. And we'll hop back over to Charlie. And Charlie, you feel that sun coming through the window. Again, you hear that rain as you're in Faust's bedroom. And in Faust's bedroom, it's very, very small. It's a single bed. And you can see all over all the walls, all of these different designs for tattoos everywhere. You can see a photo on the bedside table. It's not in a frame or anything like that, but you do know this is Faust's partner. And you also see a small sketch by the bedside, sort of actually on the wall, of a chameleon. And it seems to be staying very close to the photo at all times. You recognize Aiden. And it's just a picture of them both smiling. And this room is, other than that, very bare. There is what looks to be a chest of drawers that, you know, it's going to be full of the same clothes he wears every day. You know, there's going to be 7 black t-shirts in there. There's going to be a couple of pairs of jeans. There's going to be, you can see a wall of the one thing he does seem to vary other than his hair, and that's the caps, as you can see. But even then, you know, he picks out the same one every day and puts it on, over his hair. And you wake up and you find yourself in this room.
It was a very fitful on and off sleep, and she's got big old bags under her eyes. But just kind of sit and look around and honestly enjoy all of this art around her for a little while before going with this blanket still like burritoed around her shoulders. Make her way sleepily into kind of the main sitting room. She first just kind of peeks around the corner to see if anyone else is up.
You can see a very tired Faust. He is literally there in jeans and that t-shirt, but it's so crumpled you're pretty sure he slept in the tattoo chair. His hair is almost standing on end. His cap is perched on the side, and you can see him half like bleary-eyed pouring tea. You see him miss a cup and then move along and start pouring again. And you can see Miles sat in the chair, awake, just sat there with this eagle sat on his lap almost, and he's just like giving it a little like scratch underneath its chin. But otherwise he sort of stares not forward but around, just looking and taking everything in.
Shuffle my way out and just quietly to Faust as I pass by on my way to Miles to treat his sleep.
And Miles looks over at you. Charlie.
And
he sighs. Like, missed you. I didn't know where you were.
I was here.
I know, but I don't know. And he pauses again. Almost like he's still struggling to remember some things. I'm sorry if I caused any problems.
Reach over and just kind of pat his knee. I was like sat on the floor, honestly, next to him, and just okay. I'm here now. That's what matters.
Yeah. Yeah, we're all good, aren't we? We're fine. And he pauses and he looks over at his eagle and leans forward to you. What's his name?
Give him a long look. But try and not be like shocked. This is Sona.
Okay. And he sort of leans back and repeats it, Sona, as he smiles and you see him sort of relax a little bit.
I kind of just take out like a little bird, honestly, and just kind of let him sort of run through my fingers even. This is how.
Yeah. Ow. Yes. And sort of like scratches his head nervously, almost embarrassed. But you can see almost like a light in his eyes switch on, like as if he does remember. Yeah. I think I'm tired still. You know? What do we do now?
I think we should go home.
And he frowns. Like, home.
Then home. Outside the city.
On the outskirts again. Like a holiday.
Yeah. Just like that.
And he leans in again and he grabs your arm. Not roughly, he just holds it. I think I was in the tangle.
Probably.
Yeah, probably. When are we going?
Just look at Faust, and Charlie's not used to being the big sibling. And she's trying real hard, but there's still a bit of just like very faint kind of static coming off of her as she's trying to contain all of this stress.
And Faust knows you. He picks up on it almost straight away. And he walks over and pushes a mug of tea into your hand and looks at Miles. And it's just probably after breakfast. You know, you've got to eat something first.
Yeah.
I've got to eat something first. And then, yeah. Go home. Just for a bit. Relax. And Phil sort of gives him a smile and sort of, not like pushes his face, but like a friendly sort of shove his shoulder, shove his face, sort of. And then you come back. But everyone needs a break sometimes. Even I need a break. I'm going on holiday soon, I think. And you see Miles just nod again with a smile on his face. And Miles stands and sort of pulls you over to one side, sort of like by the sink, which is the furthest part away from Miles, even though it's not that far at all. He's sort of like there with the mug of tea, like,
Yeah.
do you want me to take him? I can, if you want.
I'm afraid they'll just follow me.
Okay.
I can't bring them. Can't.
Don't take them home. I can drop him off. It's no problem. I was meaning to stop down by the shore anyway. It's gonna be alright, Charlie. I bet it's just rest he needs and distance.
I just honestly just like put my head just like in his chest and just breathe.
Yeah, you hear the clank of the mug down on like the draining board as he just puts one hand over the back of your head and one around your shoulders and sort of straightens you up into a hug and just rests his chin on top of your head like, I'll take him, Charlie. It's alright. Okay? And you can feel that slight rub on the back of your back as well.
Just crying very quietly, but the static is faded.
You feel one of his hands from the back of your head as he reaches down, pulls up your headphones, fixes them over your ears, places a very firm kiss on the top of your head, and then goes back to just giving you a hug again. And he stays there until you let go.
For a little while, but she lets herself have this moment of just vulnerability for just a little while. And eventually just whispers, "Thanks."
And he smiles. Anytime, Charlie, you know that.
Can you bring them a letter too?
He nods, closing his eyes briefly. I'll tell them whatever you want me to tell them.
Or some paper.
Yeah, and he sort of looks around, and you see that the apartment is covered in just pens, pencils, paper, everything. He's like, take your pick. It's like, you can write on the back of some of the drawings if you want, but I wouldn't advise it. Not that one. And he sort of again moves over. He's like, actually, I'll get you some paper. And he starts sifting through what looks to just be sketchbook upon sketchbook before he comes to one, tears out a piece of paper and has a pen and lays it on the kitchen table in front of you.
All right.
I'm sorry about the tea stain on.
Oh. The time I'm done with this will probably be messier. And she writes, it's honestly been a little while. She's kind of been slacking on her letter writing. She doesn't really call home. It's always just been, the letters are her way that she talks to her dads, and she doesn't say everything. There's a lot of the usual sugarcoating. I'm fine. School is fine. Miles got hurt by something, and he needs you for a little while. I promise I'll be home soon. Just kind of at a loss for what else to write, but after a few moments, she does add, I did make a nice friend. I'll leave it there. Signs her name, folds it up, and honestly tucks it like in Miles, like the inside of his jacket. And while she's doing that, takes a closer look at Sona.
Could you roll me an intellect check, please, and let me know what it is you're looking for?
She's looking for, like, she knows this, and not quite in like mannerisms for the most part, and it's not that he's being weird, but she wants to know if they're still communicating, I guess. And I think I'll use an advantage.
Okay. No.
Not that I need it.
No.
It can't actually get any better than that.
No,
so
you
never mind.
actually can't get better than that. So.
Okay.
You have watched the Sinakwe over the process of the evening and since Miles came back. You know this Sinakwe, probably inside out, very much like you know your brother. If anything, there are moments where the Inarque just walks across this wooden floorboard. You remember hearing that click and that clang. And normally this bird is either always attached to Miles or hovering above. And as much as there were moments where it was walking, there are other moments where you can see the closeness is like it's never been before. Like this eagle will crouch on Miles's shoulder and literally nuzzle itself up against like his neck and his face and not move, like almost as if it's like it'd be pressing against a tree in a storm. And it doesn't move at all. The mannerisms, it's more that there's two very different ones, not that there's something wrong. But you get the feeling that in some ways the Inarque is somehow, if possible, even closer to Miles physically than before. Like it wants to be around him constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas sometimes you have them, they literally walk side by side. Whereas right now, you feel like there is a need for them to be next to each other. and close.
Realizing this, she'll even, I think Al even draws a little closer and is just kind of even more tangled in her hair than normally is. And she just kind of reaches up, not even thinking about it, and just kind of cups a hand over him. And turns to Faust and it's just like, take care of him, okay?
And Faust gives you a bit of a smile, like there's not much energy in the smile, but he's like gives you almost like a salute as he sort of actually holds Miles's hand and starts walking him out the door. Miles stops briefly, comes back into the room and gives you a hug. And you feel that squeeze of that hug. He's like, I'll be back soon.
Yeah.
I'll say hi to them for you. It's okay.
Nice vacation.
I'll tell them you're still in school, and he sort of there's that joke of Miles sort of coming through. And he gives you one last quick hug, and then quickly hurries back over to Faust, who guides him out. Faust turns back, looks at you. Say, as long as you want. The keys from the table. Just pop them under the flower pot once you're done. And he turns around and he closes the door behind him. You do hear it lock. You know that's a habit of his. He's just always done it since you've met him. And you hear the footsteps walk down the stairs. That creak of that door at the lower level open and close. And if you look out one of the windows, you see them walking towards the tram station.
Stands there for a long moment before just she starts pacing and trying to figure out what she's gonna do. And this momentary peace, she has that nagging anxiety of hers never really leaves, but now that something has I guess given substance to what she was previously worrying about, that voice is more like, you were right to worry. See what's happened when you go outside. See what's happened when you relax, let your guard down for anything. And I don't know if she leaves.
Can you roll an intellect check for me, please? Okay.
Okay.
As you watch them go to the tram stop, you see someone else walking in the opposite direction to them. They don't clock each other at all. They don't even see each other. As walking in the direction of where you know your flat is, back towards the flower shop, there's a little girl and a red panda getting pretty damp in the rain, but they seem to be carrying something in a bag. And she's sort of like trundling along and heading in that direction. You can either stop her or you can just watch as she heads off in that direction.
For now, she'll just watch. Make some more tea.
You see
Has
her,
a good long think.
you see her walking, marching almost. This red panda sort of almost like tuck and rolling through each of the puddles. You can't hear what she's saying, but it sounds like she's telling it off and telling it to hurry up as she marches back in that direction. And then we're going to hop over to Tolan. Tolan, you're sat in your room looking over these comics.
Yeah, he sort of, as he flips through, remembers that day, that first meeting, and also how probably a week, 10 days later was when he left the academy. And I started concentrating on becoming a seeker. And he just sort of, I think he sits there and just kind of reminisces after delicately handling each page to make sure that they don't get out of order or messed up. He's even brought a coaster over for his teacup as he has some tea, as he sort of just gets lost in that youth in the time, back when he was still alive, and the world was this big wondrous place to explore. And I don't think he gets upset, but just gets lost and lets himself get lost for a little bit as the rain sort of beats against the outside window, and the smell of the nice bergamot tea, probably now going stale, some of Aggie's biscuits that he did find a couple, but he finally flips through his couple of comics, and there then is a newspaper clipping that was from the day that Edric went missing.
And you sit there and you flick through these comics and you remember that meeting, that he liked the comics, that you didn't have to finish the academy to become a seeker, how relaxed he was, how friendly and happy he was. Just being himself, seemed to not notice most people around him that would recognize him as he strolled through his own life, just doing what he did. And Charlie, you watch Tuva go past. As you make tea, you see this red panda rolling through the puddles as she carries this, like a bag or something, as if she's trying to keep it upright very carefully, walking off in the direction of your flat. And Paula, you're in your dance studio, following, almost being guided by this book, coming up with new ideas as that sun starts to rise and that rain still falls. You saw Noah pass by about an hour ago and he gave you a wave as he headed his way home. And you dance, and it gives you just a happy feeling. And you probably work your way through more and more pages than you ever have in this book before. And as you move, You might catch it with your eye or not, but the words sort of shine briefly as each movement, each fluid motion, each position is achieved by you. And somewhere up in the top apartment above Broom Bindings, that rock sings again. A hum, a tune, almost peaceful, very much like Tolan said, like a lullaby. In fact, it's a lullaby some people have sung before. And Averick rolls over, throws his coat over the top of it, groans, rolls back, and falls back to sleep. And that is where we will leave Doors of Dunera this week. So, awesome. I'm sorry, it's so hot in here. It's really warm. So, everyone okay with that? Yeah,
Oh,
that's a bit of an
yeah.
intense,
Round tiny claps.
everyone, tiny claps. Other than that, everyone, we would love to hear what you think about the story and these seriously amazing characters that these wonderful players have created here over in the Discord. If you have a favorite moment, if you have, I don't know, theories, I'd like to say Tulsa's done the best reaction ever for me so far, and I know it's been clipped as a GIF, so I will be using it. If someone can gift that glare for me as well, that would be great. So, other than that, please check out all the links that are coming up in chat right now. And a huge thank you to our wonderful sponsors who we could not do this without, in the form of Mage Hand Press and also Bird in the Storm, which I say every week that you can get a mug the size of my hand. It's the perfect size for coffee. Otherwise, as I said, hop over to the Discord, come chat with us. We also do a rerun every Friday, where we sort of come and sit and chat and talk about it as we go along. This week, I'm actually going to have The Crafting Muse V with me on the sofa at the time of rewatching this, because she hasn't seen it. So I'm going to get to see her reactions firsthand, which I'm very excited about. Other than that, we'll be back in half an hour with another stream for you, Tilt, run by the lovely A. Kelly Lane. So we will see you then. Keep evoking emotions. Bye.